as soon as Sony delayed Days Gone for the second time, I knew people would start to try and compare it to the perpetually delayed Xbox exclusive Crackdown 3, but you know what? I'm sorry. They aren't comparable in any form or fashion, and it's kind of insulting when people do try to say that the delays for both games are similar. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Now, I want to say first and foremost that while delays suck, especially for games that you're looking forward to, usually it makes the game better. So I'm happy that Sony Bend and Sumo Digital have been given the time needed to turn both Crackdown 3 and Days Gone into better experiences through more polish and things like that, so that when we play these games next year, they're the best that they possibly could be. Now, with that said, man, you just can't compare Days Gone to Crackdown 3 whatsoever, and I'm going to explain why, okay? So Days Gone received its second delay, and I'm sure you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Rand, second delay? I only recall it being delayed once, from February 22nd to April 26th. But that's not necessarily true now, is it? If we go back to PSX 2017, Shuhei Yoshida said that Days Gone would release in 2018, and I remember back then making a video, or maybe it was a podcast, saying that there's no way that's going to happen. Sony has too many games for 2018. Where exactly would Days Gone fit into that mix? I mean, just think about it. They had God of War release on April 20th. They had Detroit Become Human release like a month later on May 25th. And then you finally had Spider-Man release on September 7th. 3 pretty big games. 2 games, mind you, that broke PlayStation sales records. Where exactly was Days Gone going to fit in that mix? I guess the only answer would be June, July, or August, but couldn't really see Sony releasing one of their, I guess, marquee new IPs in such a downtime. You know, a lot of games don't get released in the summer months for a reason. So it just never made sense to me that Days Gone would release in 2018. So it was no surprise when they're like, by the way, it's coming February 22nd. And then every other game decided to say, you know what, we're also releasing that day. Anthem, Metro Exodus, Crackdown, and a whole bunch of other games are coming out in February. And I made a video saying that it's only a matter of time before Days Gone gets delayed out of that mess, right? And sure enough, they just recently delayed it to 2019, April 26th, to move away from all those games. Not just Anthem and Metro, but all the games in March as well. You have Devil May Cry 5, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. You have Division 2, which is a huge multiplayer game from Ubisoft. And it only made sense to move it from those 2 months and give it a time period where, hey, it's by itself. Give it the polish it needs, the marketing it needs, and so it won't be under the shadow of bigger games releasing in that time frame, right? It made sense. They say the 2-month delay is for polish, but the real reason is because they don't want to get the game killed prematurely from releasing it so close to Anthem and Division 2. So that's it. The game got a year delay. If you want to say it was supposed to come out in, I don't know, maybe it was supposed to come out in April of last year when God of War was supposed to come out in March before that got delayed. Maybe it was supposed to come out in June. So right around a year delay for Days Gone. Not that bad. Uncharted 4 was delayed for a bit. Games get delayed quite often. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming up, and that was supposed to come out earlier this year, and I think it was even supposed to come out last year. Games get delayed all the time. It's part of the business. But what's not really part of the business is how Crackdown 3 and the whole history behind that. And this is why I think it's funny and sad that people are trying to say Days Gone is so similar in comparison to Crackdown just because they've been delayed. No, not at all. There's no comparison here, and I'm going to show you exactly why. You guys realize that Crackdown 3 was supposed to release in 2016? Yeah, I had forgotten about that, right? And right before E3 started, they delayed the game to Crackdown to 2017. There's even an article, if you look, from VG247 with an interview with Shannon Loftus explaining why Crackdown 3 wasn't coming out in 2016 anymore and was focusing on 2017. So at this point, I'm recording this video on October 20th, 2018. We should have been playing Crackdown 3 for almost over 2 years at this point. 2 years. It's a long time. But the fun doesn't stop there. You see, on August 16th, last year, 2017, Microsoft decided to delay Crackdown 3 once again from 2017 to 2018. At E3 that year, they finally gave us a release date, November 7th, 2017. It was the day we were supposed to be able to not only pick up the Xbox One X, but enjoy the cloud destruction multiplayer that we've heard so much about with Crackdown, but they decided to delay it. Fine, right? Okay, another delay. But then again, as everybody knows, earlier this year, right before E3, Microsoft delayed Crackdown 3 again, this time from 2018 to 2019. You can actually see in the deleted tweet from Xbox that it was original release date was going to be February 22nd, 2019, but now they are just confirming February 2019. In fact, if I had to guess on the release date, it's probably going to be February 8th. I can't see them releasing after February 22nd, as it would still be in the shadow of Anthem. I can't really see them going the week before. So February 8th is probably a good prediction, or February 15th, one of those 2 days. It's a little bit after Resident Evil 2 Remake, and after Kingdom Hearts 3, and before Anthem and Metro and all those other bigger games. But my point should be pretty digestible for you guys now after seeing this. Days Gone got a year delay. Crackdown 3 has been delayed since 2016. 3 years. 3 years for Crackdown 3. And you know what? I'd even forgotten it was supposed to come out in 2016, so reading this article about why they delayed it to 2017 is pretty interesting. They say, to be honest, because we obviously have this Crackdown online mode, and then we also have the traditional Crackdown campaign, which has multiplayer online. But we want to launch our online beta so that it's not too far in advance of the complete campaign. It's actually the campaign that we're doubling down on now. We've got internal play sessions every week for Crackdown Online. We're starting now to get the campaign in. Building these open world games is both challenging and a blast because you have to build all of the systems that interact together before you get to the point where you can actually experience what the game feels like and start building your missions and telling your stories. Yeah, they were supposed to have a beta for this game all the way back in 2016. They're doubling down on the campaign, which is what they said recently as well. How long does it take to make the Crackdown campaign? It's been 3 years. And then I love the fact that they say they have internal play sessions every week for Crackdown Online, which is something that we haven't heard a single thing about. Yeah, we saw some behind-the-scenes footage back at Gamescom 2015, but we haven't seen it in action since then. Nobody even knows if it's real. Nobody even knows if the multiplayer destruction is in it still. Now, I've heard through some of the people I talk to that, the multiplayer destruction is still real, still a big part of the online of the game, and that one of the issues they ran into was that when Dave Jones and CloudGen, who had built the cloud infrastructure for Crackdown 3, got bought out by Epic Games early last year, or maybe it was early this year, they basically didn't stop using what they had built and kind of rebuilt some of the stuff from scratch themselves. I don't know how much that is true, but it would explain one of the reasons why Crackdown has been so delayed. And hopefully this video can kind of prove to you why, if anybody is trying to say Days Gone deserves the same kind of treatment as Crackdown 3 in the eyes of gamer is just kind of ridiculous, because 3 years to 1 year is I don't know what else to say there, right? And just even researching this article, looking all different articles about why and when these games were delayed, there's got to be a very interesting story about why Crackdown 3 has been so delayed. Why there was a beta in 2016, why they decided to double down on the campaign back then, what's all the play sessions back then to finally be able to release 3 years later. There has to be a big juicy story on that, right? There absolutely has to be. Now, I will say that there are people that will, in one breath will say Sony is smart for delaying Days Gone, but then will also say that Microsoft should just cancel Crackdown. You know, they give the benefit of the doubt to Sony, but don't give the same benefit of the doubt to Microsoft, and I kind of get it, because Sony has a good track record of releasing great single-player games, even though they also have released some stinkers in the past, like Knack and Knack 2, and, you know, people consider Order 1886 a bad game, even though I liked it. But people are more willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Sony than to Microsoft, and, well, we know because Microsoft has released such gems as Sea of Thieves and State of Decay and stuff like that. So not a lot of people enjoy Microsoft's current offerings, and they think they can't make anything good, even though they have in the past. Those people you just gotta ignore. You know, you just gotta say to yourself, these people aren't, you know, they're not offering anything intelligent, and they're definitely not entertaining, so why am I listening to these people? The fact of the matter is, both these games needed the extra time. They needed the polish. I recall reading articles about Days Gone saying that it was lifeless and dull last year when Eurogamer and a few other outlets got to play it, and that it needed time to kind of cook in the oven. And I would imagine the same thing goes for Crackdown. You know, I don't think these companies want to delay these games as long as they do, because it costs money. It costs lots and lots of money, which, you know, cuts into your return on investment. You know, Crackdown 3, with how much it's been delayed, would that even make money for Microsoft with how much money they've had to pour into the title? Same thing with Days Gone. You know, a year delay can't be cheap. That'll definitely eat into the profit margins. And I have also seen another kind of funny scenario being posted that I wanted to speak about. It's this idea that Crackdown 3 is more complex. It's got more moving parts. It's got the multiplayer and the co-op and the campaign. So it takes longer to get those things right, and you should be more accepting of that delay. Whereas Days Gone is a filthy one-and-done PS4 exclusive that you'll play for 20 hours and then never play again. So, of course, Crackdown should be delayed, because there's more to it. Well, Days Gone doesn't really have anything. And I find that to be condescending and, of course, totally fanboyish, because when you just look at some other games out there that are single-player only, and let's just take God of War and Spider-Man, for example, one took 5 years, one took 4 years. And the reason these games take long, and you can even throw in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think that took 3 years, and other games out there, is it takes time to get your vision of what you want to achieve into a playable format, into a polished format of what gamers expect in 2018 with, you know, great visuals, performance that's key and things like that. You know, it takes a long time, and this is no matter whether you're a single player experience like Days Gone, or you have multiplayer and single player like something like Battlefield 5 or Crackdown 3. So just by kind of putting down Days Gone and saying it's single player only and it's a one and done, while Crackdown is supposed to be, well, there's more going on, so it's more acceptable. Stop it. You make yourselves look like complete idiots when you do that. Just a little advice from good old Randall Thor 19 there. So, look, I can't wait to play both of these games. I'm more interested in Crackdown than Days Gone. Days Gone kind of just has never really appealed to me, but I'm gonna play it now, day one, because it's coming out in a time frame where there's nothing else out, so I'll have something to play. I'm interested in seeing if Sony Bend can actually make a really good game, considering they haven't made one in 5 years. And I'm really interested to see if Sumo Digital and everybody at Microsoft can right the ship with Crackdown. You know, this odyssey that they've been on of basic negative press for the last 3 years of being so delayed. You know, if they can actually truly turn out a gem, is going to be something to, you know, keep your eye on. I can't wait to play either games, and I think both of these delays are good for the title, both titles, but they're not even remotely comparable whatsoever. Anyways, guys, that is all I wanted to say basically about these two games. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it out on Twitter and social media with your friends. Let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments section below. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hi, how's it going? Randall Thor. Hope you enjoy the channel. And hit that notification bell right next to the subscribe button so you're always notified when I drop new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.